So it's election season once again, and this is the first of what I'm sure will be a couple of episodes around the election. This one getting ready for the primary. We've got some big dates coming up. Next week is our final date that you can register as a candidate, but we're going to do a preview of some of the candidates tonight. But more importantly than the candidates at this point, because I think that some of them are new enough that we probably don't know a whole lot about them. I want to talk about the issues. I want to talk about, I got to tell you, walking into the voting booth, especially in the primary season, I oftentimes feel undereducated, and I try to keep up on this stuff. So I want to talk on these different political races. What issues should we be talking about? What are the issues that should be important in your mind and in your mind to the citizens? Let's start out with the Board of Education. Ron, how's this current group of Board of Education members doing compared to the last group? From my perspective, it's not quite as adversarial.
I don't think you hear as much negativity. I think it's a lot of positive feedback that comes out of the board. That doesn't say that everything that they're doing or what they're doing is what's making the school system better. It just says you don't have a lot of controversy. The old board, while they had a lot of controversy, 95 to 96% of the time they agreed on every vote. Yeah. It's that 3 to 4 to 5% that issues that come up that you don't agree on. So, we keep fighting over the same thing. The Board of Education is constantly fighting over what? Money, money, money. Every time you see something come out, it's about more money for this, more money for that. Money doesn't correct the issues and the woes of education.
Ron? Tom? How about, that's Ron, you're Tom.
Yes,
Tom,
yes.
What say you? Does money correct the problems?
Not necessarily, unless it's funneled to the right issues.
What are the right issues?
Well, one of the ones I think the school could be dealing with far better is the whole opioid crisis. About drug education. The schools could be doing a lot more about that. And this is where, like this, right now I think it's about once a year they do something on this. But it's a lot more severe. There's certain present issues that I think probably could be addressed. And it's not necessarily about a lot of money, it's about curriculum, for instance. And then there's things like, I just found one of the things they did this year I couldn't understand it. The whole thing about sending the collection agencies after the deadbeat, payers, for the parents and the families for school lunches. I spoke to innumerable people about this. I did not have one person I spoke to, and I speak to a lot of people, who agreed with that. I went to a meeting about that, and we had one of the members tried to shut us down to even talk, which, its attitude is part of the problem I have with this board. There's some of them that I really have a problem with the attitude. I know one of them. I spent a long time when he was first elected standing outside the early voting by the prison, having him lecture me about how, the pause and the Hopeful Hounds program at the prison was a waste of money, and they just got to punish these people, and who cares about the dogs, and it's too much money for dog food. I was shocked, frankly, that this was this person's attitude. Well, what does he think about kids? This is what I worry about. It's a little bit more, it's attitudes, and it's good that this board gets along, but there's some issues there like that, and money is an issue from the county.
Ron, I think you brought a good point that getting along doesn't mean progress. It doesn't mean success. One of the things that certainly is going to be talked about in this election cycle, in my mind, specifically at the board level, as a result of the many and tragic shootings that we've had, is security around the schools. What should we be talking about with respect to that?
I think there'd be a national effort, from the Department of Education, do we still have a Department of Education? I don't know if Betsy DeVos really gives a hoot about what's happening down in your small schools, but she probably has some type of other persons that within the Department of Education sending different guidelines down on how to lock down a school, how to ensure certain doors are not locked, or they are locked, depending on the issue of people getting in and out. It becomes very difficult to deal with the scenarios. There's so many scenarios. And a wise shooter will have done his reconnaissance to see a game plan and understand how to get in, how to get out. What did he do? Down in Florida, he pulled a fire alarm. He got everybody moving around the fire alarm. He was able to get in. How did he get out? He mingled in. He mingled in with everybody that's marching out. He came in an Uber, got out of his vehicle. So you have to outsmart them, and that's the same thing within the murders we'll talk about later in some of your big cities.
But do you think that will be an important topic for this election cycle in your
No,
mind?
not here.
You don't think it
See,
will?
around here, a lot of, and across this whole country, it's what your idea is on the social issues why you're elected. It doesn't go on what you know about what you should know about. It's what your opinion on something that ultimately will judge, well, I like that person's position on A, B, and C topic. And when it goes to leadership, that's why you have inferior leaders a lot of times now, because they're elected on a social issue and not on a leadership ability.
Yeah, it would be like here in Washington County, it's like hitting the third rail if you talk about guns, you know. So that does affect the whole debate about what the schools should do. There's only so much the local school board can do. They are doing some things. You know, I saw Bob Brucey put some stuff, but how hard it was for him to get into some schools right here in Washington County
I
on
think
Facebook.
Yeah,
you know.
and I think they're doing a lot. Is
They are
is
doing
it enough?
something. Is it
Who
enough?
knows? I mean, I would suspect that in that Florida school district, they had an attitude much like we have here in Washington County, or many of us, that it could never happen to us. Well, guess what? It can.
What happened, wasn't that one of the safest places, one of the top 10 safest places in Florida?
Yes. So
What else will we be talking about this election season?
Bug removal.
Bug removal. I just removed one.
they're back, Jim. They're back.
Yeah. Anything else on the board side before we go to the county commission?
I think on the board side, one thing that we need to, we talk about bringing new business in and talk about employees where they can't find qualified people. We feel that a qualified person is a person that knows how to run a device that helps an HVAC system person put a furnace in, or put an air conditioning system in, or put something in. They want people that are smart enough that they can be trained to do jobs. People that understand how to fill out checkbooks and things, how to fill out a profit and not just profit and loss, but how to add, subtract, do the intricate things that's needed to be done, how to read a rule, how to work on the computer to determine
How to be organized.
Yeah, and how to dress up, get up, clean up, go through an interview, and that type of thing. Instead of standing there with a bone in your nose and your hair flying all over the place and something, but how to be professional. And we lose that because of some of this other curriculum that I won't get into now, that in my opinion is relevant, but it's irrelevant when it comes to the community we live in.
Okay. Any last words, Tom?
No, because I guess we wanted to talk about county commissioners.
We will,
here.
and
We'll
when we
probably
get
run
back,
out of this.
when we get back, we will talk about
Yes.
county commissioners. We're back in 3 minutes. Stay with us for another segment of The Flip Side.